At the end of the last episode, Jenn was served with a cease and desist order regarding the usage of the name She-Hulk. Does that mean that she finally gets rid of the name that she didn't want to use from the get-go? Or will she fight for her right to stay the She-Hulk, as the public has christened her? Will this be a case that is settled in court, or will the solution again come outside of court? If you are curious to find out, then join me for this short review video. Okay, let's jump right into the synopsis of this week's episode, titled Mean Green and Straight Poured into These Jeans. This synopsis should be fairly short. Remember Titania, the superhuman being that was crashing into the courtroom, forcing Jenn to reveal herself as She-Hulk to the whole world? Well, she is back, and she has trademarked the name She-Hulk, because she wants to use it for a cheap line of beauty products, benefiting from the name recognition. Jenn, who at first never liked the name that was forced onto her by the press and the public, thought that it wouldn't bother her to not be able to use it anymore. Though she also got used to it and on a certain level is really pissed about the situation. However, she decided to let it be, but her boss thinks otherwise, because if the head of one of his divisions cannot even defend her own rights to her name, then this reflects bad on the whole company. So she forces her to take action. As for some reasons lawyers are not supposed to represent themselves, she is hiring Mallory Book, one of her fiercest competitors. The main issue at hand is that Jenn publicly in some interviews has clearly stated that she doesn't like the name She-Hulk and didn't plan to use it. Though in other interviews she said otherwise after she had a change of heart. Now her big task is to prove that she actually embraced the name before Titania patented it for her own use. And doing so is actually quite easy, barely an inconvenience, because she just has to bring up everyone she dated under her She-Hulk dating profile, which turned out quite embarrassing for her, but at least clearly makes her point, which wins her back the right for the name She-Hulk. Meanwhile, her friends and colleagues Ramos and Puck are on a mission to get her comfortable clothes that will fit her in either form, either as Jenn or the She-Hulk. So they track down Luke Jacobson, a highly exclusive tailor, who is also known for doing the outfits for many superheroes. So that should be the place to go, right? The two manage to get Jenn a consultation with him, but at first he is not very impressed with She-Hulk, because she is not really a superhero in his eyes. She is just a lawyer, as she herself says. So why should he bother with her? But then the task of creating an outfit that would fit her in both forms is really triggering his ambitious nerves, because he wants to show the world that he is able to manage this task. And at the end of the episode, Jenn is picking up all her suits and even receives a small surprise that we have yet to see. Also in there we are teased with a quick glance at the top half of the mask of Daredevil, who seems to be also a client of Luke's. This of course doesn't come as a big surprise, as we already know that Daredevil will be having a role in this series, as we already saw him in the trailers before the show even began. So let's just write that down as bad marketing, and let's start looking at the episode. The bad news is that the animation still looks a little bit unconvincing, especially now if she is walking around. So of course we know that this is animated, but it really looks that way. Much more than if you have her in a sitting position, but even there the animation is still unconvincing. At least compared to the animation of Hulk that we have seen in the first episode. But I guess this is something we have to live with for the whole show. The good news though is that her breaking the fourth wall and talking directly to us doesn't feel really disruptive in this episode like it did before. It is also not really adding something, but at least it is easier to tolerate it here. It is also nice to see that something concerning a superhero is actually settled in court and not outside of it by her using her superpowers. Actually, it wasn't even her leading the case because she was just the client, but the main idea to win the case was still coming from her. So that was nice to see for a change. Something that really surprised me though is the fact that there was no mid-credits sequence, which this series had from the first episode through the fourth, so you were almost expecting it to come, and then you were disappointed by not seeing a quick gag in between. Why that is, I have no idea, and if the next episodes will have a mid-credit sequence again or not, remains to be seen. We still haven't seen much more about Jenn as a character, so the character development is still a little bit underwhelming, but at least this episode was entertaining enough to enjoy it from start to finish. Still not an excellent show, but with that being said, let's jump into the rating. But before we do so, please let me remind you to like and share this video if you enjoyed it so far. And if you're no subscriber yet, maybe consider to change that. By also hitting the notification bell, you will get a heads up for most of my new videos. Now for the rating. And as you can deduct by what I just said, it will not score an excellent rating. I also will not go as far as saying that this episode was great. It was a good one again, and it was definitely better than above average and was well entertaining. As the show and this particular episode still have room for improvement, I'm again going with a 7 out of 10 points, which is actually quite a good score. As I said last time, I guess the rating will stay around the same score as the show seems to be settling down on this level of quality and entertainment. Maybe the episodes with Daredevil will be a little bit better, but right now I'm not getting my hopes up that I will be jumping up and down for any of the coming episodes. What do you think? Do you think the next episodes will be better, or what's your take on the whole show? Let me know in the comments. So much for now, see you next time, and thanks for watching.